This is where the flood was the other day. You can see there's a truck there trying to clean the mess up. Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with an update video today. Again in the car. I've got a few things that I need to do. I've got to go to a supermarket and then I've got to go to a bank. Hopefully there's going to be a bank next to the supermarket so that I can kill two birds with one stone. And on the way to the supermarket and on the way back, we'll have a bit of a chat about what's going on here in Spain currently. So let's go. Now we'll get the weather report out of the way. As you can see, a little bit overcast today, not raining, which is good. The borrasca or storm that has hit Spain and Portugal over the last 3, 4, 5 days has passed apparently. We've got a few fine days ahead, at least in this part of Spain. So good news there. Very heavy rain the other day. In fact, an area here where I live got flooded. A couple of shops had to be cleaned out because the water got into those shops and destroyed property there. So not good, but that's what happens when you don't clean the drains. It rains heavily, things get blocked, and we get floods. So that's what we have had to put up with over the last 4 or 5 days, as I said. Now I'm recording on the 360 camera, so we should be able to get a good 360 view of what's going on this drive. I'm testing this camera out in a car setting. I've got the GoPro running just in case I can't get the angles that I need with the 360 camera, which sounds funny, but it's a problem when you edit. So we'll head to the supermarket, which is on the other side of town basically. So I've got to go there. The reason I'm going to that supermarket is because they have a specialty wine area, and that's what I want to buy today. We've got a few Christmas parties happening soon, so I want to try out a wine that was recommended, and that's the one I'm going to buy today. From the Bierzo area in the north of Spain, in León, Ponferrada. Decent wines from that part of Spain, so that's what I want to buy now to try it out. So, what's happening here in Spain? Well, luckily, the airport workers' strike that had been called for the 22nd and 23rd of December, I think, and also for the 30th and 31st of December, and the 6th or the 5th and the 8th of January has been called off. The AENA workers, I mentioned this in yesterday's live stream, but I'll say it again anyway, because a lot of people were waiting to see what was going to happen with that airport strike. Very inconvenient time of the year for airport workers to strike, but as we know, lots of people on strike at the moment. But anyway, they have decided to call the strike off. Apparently the demands have been met by the airport. This is where the flood was the other day. You can see there's a truck there trying to clean the mess up. But anyway, airport strike off, and it has saved a lot of headaches, no doubt, because as we know, there's no busier time of year for people traveling. And I had a few people in the comment section saying that they are traveling to Spain over that Christmas period. Somebody said they're going to Benidorm. I think another person said they're going to a town down there in Andalusia. So plenty of people planning trips to Spain, and the airport strike would have been a serious inconvenience, but luckily out of the way. Not so when it comes to other strikes. For example, doctors' strikes and health workers' strikes. They're also complaining about conditions, maybe wanting better conditions, better salaries, so they're on strike, and unfortunately that looks set to continue. But anyway, what can we do? I've got a dirty, polluting bus ahead of me there. It's one of the problems that we have living in this city. We've got green bike lanes there, as you can see, but we still have old buses that churn out this smoke from the exhaust, which really goes against the purpose of trying to get a green city. But anyway, that's a rant for another day. More work's going on here, and Spanish governments, or local governments around Spain, I should say, are warning that the public works are only going to get worse at the end of this year and next year. So if you're living in Spain or coming to Spain, be aware of that. Now I'm coming up to the supermarket. I just have to find a place to park. I'm probably going to have to park a fair way away and walk, because you can never get a park close to the supermarket, and the supermarket parking is an absolute nightmare. There's a person leaving there, so I think I'll nip into that spot if I can. I think I should be able to get this car in there. See if the bus can squeeze through the roadworks. Not sure what they're doing here, but it's keeping plenty of people occupied. These guys are having their morning tea. Good luck to them. Now I'm just going to go around here and park. So hopefully I'll be able to nip into this little spot here if this person leaves. Let's see. Yeah, she's leaving, so we'll pop in there. All right, let's get in here. Got the old reverse camera, which always comes in very handy for spots like this. Make sure that we don't scrape the Qashqai. There we go, perfect. Straighten up a little bit, and away we go. All right, so into the supermarket, and I'll pick the video up when I come out again. Okay, now supermarket run done and dusted. Managed to get a couple of bottles of wine. We can see here, this one here, Losada from the Bierzo, just under 10 euros. Lovely wine. And I went for the same grape, which is Mencía, but a different area here in Spain, Ribera Sacra. Ribera Sacra, which is in Galicia, I believe. And Don Ventura is the wine here. So a couple of bottles of wine hopefully will get us through the parties. I'm also hoping that the people that are coming will bring some wine as well. But if they don't, we should have wine covered. Now, some bad news, and it was that the ATM machine wasn't working, so I couldn't get money out there, and there was a big queue in the bank, so I didn't want to go into the bank. So a bit of an inconvenience when it comes to the money. I'll just get out of this spot. So I've got to go to another bank. So puts an extra 5 minutes onto my travel time today. But anyway, what can we do? Now, the last thing I want to talk about today, and this is a topic that popped up in yesterday's live stream because of a news article that we saw about a lawyer in the north of Spain, in the city of Valladolid, who decided to take a restaurant to court, or put proceedings against a restaurant because they charged 7 euros for bread, 7 people at the table, 7 euros, 1 euro each for bread, and it wasn't written down in the menu that they were going to charge for bread. So he works for the Consumer Watchdog organization, so fairly easy for him to put these bureaucratic processes into place, and he decided to teach the restaurant a lesson, let's say, and get those 7 euros back. And of course the court ruled in his favor, saying that because the price of bread wasn't listed on the menu, then they had no right to charge for that bread. And this is a trend that, as I mentioned yesterday, has been creeping in here in Spain. Restaurants will put a basket of bread down on the table. If you are one person, they'll put one little small loaf of bread. If you are two, they'll put two, and so on. Maybe if there's a group, they'll put a basket of sliced bread down, and they'll charge you per person for that bread. And a lot of people are angry that this is happening because, as I said, it's something that's crept into the restaurant culture here, I think, over the last 10 years or so. It didn't always seem to be the case. When you have a menú del día, bread is included, but when you order a la carte, sometimes no. So this is the issue. And as I said, this guy trying to prove a point and getting his money back for that bread. And I'm surprised that he didn't take it up with the restaurant then and there. Just say, look, we didn't order the bread. Why are you charging it for us? And the majority of times, restaurant owners are quite sympathetic to the customer's complaint, let's say, and they won't charge you or give you the money back if you have already been charged. And I mentioned in Portugal, a similar thing happens, that when you go to a restaurant, basically all over Portugal, I think, the first thing they do when you sit down at a table is they put 3 or 4 dishes of entrees down. maybe some pate, maybe some cheese, bread as well, and a lot of people fall into the trap of eating those things thinking that they are free, especially people that are traveling to Portugal for the first time. We normally eat them because we're hungry. Olives and maybe a crab pate or something like that. My son loves crab pate, so we normally eat them, and prices vary, but they're always listed and you know what you're going to be charged. But sometimes you think that these things are going to be free, but they are not. So something that you need to keep in mind if you come into Spain, haven't been here before, or Portugal for that matter, and you find yourself with bread on the table and you haven't ordered it. If you don't want it, just ask them to take it back. They normally will comply with that, but if you do eat it, you will be charged. So keep that in mind. Now, I've got to go to the bank. I'm sort of heading home because there's another bank at the local shopping centre that I need to go to get that money out. But I'll start to wrap the video up. I won't take you guys to the bank with me. Thanks for watching. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Let us know what you think of the new camera, the 360-degree effect that we can get now. Let us know what you think. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.